His will knows no bounds. His axe holds no mercy. He holds no demon in his soul. And yet, such power! Lord Arbaal, the greatest Chaos Warrior there ever will be.
A haunted land, they call it. Yet the grasses do not scream. The stones don't bleed. The trees don't drip with burning souls. My Khorne, what say you? How does this haunted land measure up against our wastes? See them hiss and sputter. Death has withered their wits to stand against me. Under his gaze, I will unsheathe their flesh and burn their souls to everlasting fires. This haunted land will earn its name today. Destruction!
We fly high, no lie, y'all know this. Arbaalin! Sickest intro and splash screen page ever. It's time for the challengers of Khorne to rise up. He has his banner, he has his armies, and by the end of this video, you will see his epic last stand at the heart of the Chaos Dwarf Empire, fighting off 3 massive Zar war hosts with a themed late game end time stack. Amazing battle. Unfortunately, he does not turn into a Chaos Spawn when he loses a fight. I know, cry every time. Pretty nice faction lord effects though, upkeep reductions, weapon strength buffs, and Hellblade to a bunch of mortal coordinate units. Faster building on the mortal side too. Global recruitment duration -1. Powerful starting army with Skull Crushers, Chaos Warriors, and a Blood Throne. Start position is not like hyper exciting. Honestly, it's another Chaos Way start for another Chaos Lord, this time on the Skull Road just south of Archaon and just north of Astragoth Ironhand, which means at least for now there will be no end for our boy, no exotic southeastern jungle in a newly open region of Immortal Empires. But like most of the lords coming this update, it doesn't matter all that much because they're giving out teleports like candy, and if you don't want to stay there, you really don't have to. I do think CA should be wary about giving teleports to everybody and their mother and brother, but considering Arbaal's campaign mechanics here, it really wouldn't have worked without that functionality, so I get it. In battle, he has a very nasty stat line. Remember that what you see on the front end doesn't reflect Frenzy and a bunch of the other passive and active buffs, and he can certainly be built and evolve into a one-man army in campaign, though with the battles you'll be fighting, there's plenty of blood and skulls to spread around, so not to be worried on that front. He has Vanguard deployment on his Hound of Khorne, Lord who pairs with Karanak like fine wine and cheese. They roll too deep in a hit squad. It is gross. Enemy lords and single entities are super sad because there's no hiding in dreams, time, or the physical plane. There is no escape. Not really sure what the devs were thinking with Eye of Khorne. I think they grew cowardly and got cold feet to an extent. It's a threshold nuke to Arbaal's enemies that summons Chaos Spawn in their place, which is really weird because it's almost the exact opposite of what his lore is all about, that when he loses, he turns into a Chaos Spawn. Not that he can make other enemies turn into Chaos Spawn in his place, but be that as it may, Chaos Spawn summons certainly give him a bunch of extra utility, and he has 2 passive ways to build up huge melee buffs and get really powerful as the battle drags on. Thirst for Challenge and the Destroyer of Khorne, his item. The threshold for max intensity on both is 150 kills, which means he will very rarely get the full benefits in multiplayer, or honestly campaign for that matter. Sitting in hordes of enemy chaff to farm them is not really what he's good at. You don't want to spend a lot of time doing that, but he can also explode with the Fury of the Blood God, dealing a strong disruptive nuke to enemy formations and give him some space to escape, which is good because on a Fleshhound, he does not have a ton of mass, at least compared to some of those tier 5 monsters and big boys like Tamarkan on a Toad Dragon. On the campaign map, his unique mechanic are the Challenges of Khorne, an ever-rotating series of battles that grant Khorne's favor, which can be spent on mighty boons to buff your armies and create a positive feedback loop of serious farming potential. You can see the current challenges on the left and middle of the screen, which grant you vision of certain areas of the Warhammer world, and they're split into difficulty based on how mighty your opponent is. The bigger the challenge, the greater the rewards, and the more favor you'll generate to spend on boons. On the right side are the boons themselves. You can debuff your own army or buff enemies to generate even more favor, unlock army abilities like Wrath, that I haven't been able to make work properly in any of these battles so far. You can summon cults, blood hosts, grant upkeep reductions, or huge increases in campaign movement range. Boons cost favor upkeep per turn, but if played properly, generate so much of that resource when you're fighting multiple battles back to back that end turn kind of just becomes a distant memory. There's some really nasty movement tech and momentum building you can set up with Arbaal should you play it appropriately. And of course, teleporting to the far corners of the world to take on huge armies is just a fun way to tour the planet, see all the sights and sounds, sample all the local cuisine, then pile their corpses high. It's simple, but it feels good. Although it is important for me to note, you cannot teleport to multiple challenge battles in the same turn. If you could do that, you'd pretty much get infinite move speed, infinite movement range, and your end turn would literally never ever come. Now, before we get into the playthrough, I want to quickly show off his unique skill tree because there's some juicy stuff on this one too. Blood God's Vigor stacks with all his other movement related perks, so if you keep winning battles, you're going to keep getting extra movement range. Eye of Khorne gives him the spawn, execution, and replenishment in foreign territory, meaning that if an enemy is dropped below that 20% HP threshold, you can nuke them, they'll instantly die, and it'll summon Chaos Spawn in their stead. You get some big time combat boosts, Devastating Flanker, expert charge defense, and upkeep reductions for mortals, and he makes all gold chevron veterans unbreakable and terror causing. His late game stacks are a problem, so let's see what they can do. Alright, we're into the heart of Chaos Dwarf territory now, just raised Uzkalak a few turns ago. One thing you will notice, one of the caveats about the teleporting mechanic to challenge battles is that you cannot do it if you're in enemy territory. So I do think I'm going to sack right now, but that will leave the city open and in Dawizar control, which means I cannot teleport from here. But we're actually not going to be doing a challenge battle quite yet. We'll save that for another few turns from now. We're instead going to do the quest battle because we can unlock the Destroyer of Khorne and get some juicy bonuses from that one. This is a Vampire Counts quest battle. I held on to it for a while until a little bit later in the game just so that I could show it off once we had a big old stack and some fun units from the DLC. We got Skullreapers, we got Wrathmongers, 4 of each, pretty heavily veterans, 4 Skull Crushers, a Slaughterbrute, a War Shrine, 2 Minotaurs, and of course Karanak, Hound of Vengeance. Vampire Counts army not gonna last very long. Unless they've got some kind of sneaky ambush, of course. General impressions on the new units and the pairings of the other things already on the roster. Look, Arbaal the Undefeated alongside Karanak, this Goon Squad is going to be incredible. I think a lot of factions are going to have serious difficulty dealing with it. Karanak, Hound of Vengeance is straight up the best legendary hero in the game, bar none. Arbaal is a scary duelist on top of it. They're fast, they hit really hard. Slaughterbrute has not massively impressed me thus far. Don't have a ton of experience with it yet. It'll be good in campaign, no question. It's a large terror-causing monster with great stats. I don't know that it'll be great in multiplayer, but it seems like a solid, fine unit, and a very, very cool-looking one, especially in the darkness here. Really actually love the look of this quest battle, and Khorne in particular, with all the flames and glowing eyes and stuff in the darkness, looks amazing. Skull Crushers, I've used them a decent amount now since the patch, or since I got early access, and yeah, I think they're a better unit, dude. Leveled up with Arbaal the Undefeated as your host leader, monstrous. Extremely good heavy cavalry, a lot of fun to use, and Wrathmongers, I mean, straight up one of the coolest models in the game right now, I think. I love the end time stuff. Skullreapers in particular have not impressed me at all. They've been really bad in most of the multiplayer games that I've seen. Wrathmongers, on the other hand, seem pretty solid. Skullreapers, again, incredible model. They do feel kind of redundant, and frankly, I think just like a worse version of Chaos Warriors with dual weapons. They hit harder, and they have the magical attacks, which means they can be good into demons, and I'm sure there will be some niche matchups where they might be okay, but they just die really quickly. I mean, they have kind of lowish armor, and they get run over in most of the battles that I've seen so far. Early impressions can easily change, of course. I do think the Skullreapers will do plenty well in campaign against a lot of factions, especially once they're veteraned up and have buffs from characters like Arbaal the Undefeated and Scar Bloodwrath. But yeah, cool unit, maybe a bit redundant. Then again, Khorne is inherently maybe a little bit redundant. They have a lot of melee stuff that kills infantry and a lot of melee stuff that kills cavalry and monsters. and that's pretty much it. You run into melee, and you kill stuff. And this army in particular is really damn good at it. Kind of End Times inspired, of course, with the Wrathmongers and Skullreapers, with the Chaos War Shrine and the Slaughterbrute kind of buffing up. Didn't want to spam single entities with this army. I don't think you really need to like doomstack necessarily. I like the late game elite armies that are still themed and have a nice balance of troops. I know it's harder to do that with Khorne because you don't have so many ranged troops and certain elements that other rosters have. You can still go thematic and still have a balance of different types of troops. And so cavalry, infantry, monsters. I didn't want like 18 Slaughterbrutes, you know what I mean? I'm not Okoid. Well, I do love me some Skull Crushers. I've said it many times, probably my favorite unit in the entirety of Warhammer Fantasy. And when they get a hammer and anvil off, and Karanak is summoning Fleshhounds in the enemy rear, well, the Vampire Count's line are going to crumble pretty fast and say, alright, well, that's a really easy quest battle. And it is, but it's not quite as easy as it first appears. In this choke point, finding the Vampire Counts, undead are just in front for the moment, but we're going to turn around pretty soon here, and there will be a little nasty surprise, actually, on all my flanks, front, rear, and on both sides of the army. The undead Vampire Coast are coming out of the woodwork, coming out of the creek bed. That means crabs. I got crabs. Got rotting Prometheans over on my left flank. Morgul's coming in from behind and the front. Zombies and some more rotting Prometheans coming in from my right. So Wrathmongers and Skullreapers already broke through. Skull Crushers are going to be in a good position to deal with the crabs right now and prevent them from reaching my battle lines. Skull Crushers are so insanely good with Arbaal. You get the devastating flanker passive. They get incredible melee attack and melee defense. When you get a decent chunk of the tech tree done, they get like, I don't know, 70 melee attack or 80 melee attack and 60 melee defense base, dude. Like, it gets really, really gross. And at that point, one of their biggest problems, which is sustained melee combat, is no longer a problem anymore. You gotta throw them in, and they will tank anything. Fleshhound's just disintegrated, sent back into the warp, but we'll have a new summon with Karanak very soon. Keep Arbaal and him high and tight together in a doggo goon squad, and no lord or hero is safe. Slaughterbrute still chunking through all the zombos, and Skullcrusher single-handedly holding down an entire flank by themselves. Zombies will not be able to push through. And the vibes are immaculate right now here in Sylvania. Got the green glow of Morslib, the balefire glow of the corpse carts, and of the hellish cornate wrath that imbues our Skull Crushers and other freakish monsters from the Immaterium. Undead army crumbles. We're on to Cincinnati. But I think the game plan here is to ratchet up the difficulty a couple of notches, shall we? So let's go to Challenges of Khorne. And there's one army in particular that I really wanted to show you guys. We can look around and see what's already on the map. I mean, some of these armies are insane. Look at all those Sacred Cross scores. I don't really want to fight that. I don't really want to fight against Dino spam or single entity spam. It's not so much fun for these Skullreapers and Wrathmongers. I want a lot of infantry, and the most likely candidate where we can get a huge battle is in and around Zar Nagrand. Morathi and the Cult of Pleasure would offer... I mean, that army would not offer that much of a challenge right now. Yeah, I think you want to go Ultimate Bloodbath tier and get some boons as well. Let's activate some. Campaign movement range is a big one. Extra Khorne's favor. I like the +5 after completing any challenge, and also giving the enemy armies a massive stat increase. I don't know exactly what that entails. It says significant stat increase. Maybe it's like playing very hard from previous Total War games, where the AI got a bigger stat bonus. That could be, but yeah, we got Khorne's Wrath, which again, I have not been able to make this army ability work at all. I do not know how it functions. I have not been able to use it. I don't know if it's bugged or if I'm just being really dumb, but I have not been able to cast it on the ground. I haven't been able to cast it on spellcasters. Haven't been able to cast it on units. I haven't been able to cast it anywhere. Whatever. We're going to keep it active for now with the Brass Orbs. Maybe we'll be able to get it working on this one. Honor Before Reason and Storms of War. Teleport to Zar Nagrand with what is an extremely powerful end time stack, for sure. And unlike some of the other teleports, you don't actually go immediately into the battle. You're just there chilling. And so whatever other armies may be in and around the city are also going to join in on the fun. You saw in the intro, we went to Marathi's place. Check that out. There's another stack there that would have joined that battle. Same thing here. We got the garrison to worry about. We've got the main stack, and we've got a secondary stack sitting outside the city. So 3 armies to deal with. It says it's a close defeat. What we're going to do is, of course, let the enemy sally out. I don't want to fight them in the city. We can fight them on an open plain. And if we win, we're going to get some hefty bonuses and a lot of replenishment, including sacking Zar Nagrand, which will probably be like close to 100,000 gold if we raise it. These are some kind of terrifying armies. Now, they don't have any veterancy, but there are some powerful single entities here. A lot of Infernal Guard Fireglaves, some Kadai Fireborn, Infernal Ironsworn, Hell Cannons, Bull Centaur Renders. Now, the Bull Centaurs, even with the great weapons, I don't think are going to be a huge threat to my Skullcrushers just because they're so teched up and veteraned up right now that they should be able to handle them pretty handily. But I'll need to be able to dive the back line, shut down the artillery, make sure those Hell Cannons fall silent, and don't rip up my Wrathmongers and Skullreapers. So we actually have a really big terrain advantage here. The Chaos Dwarfs are coming up a mountain, and this is going to allow us to get a downhill charge and actually obstruct a lot of their Fireglaves and Hell Cannons from getting good volleys in on top of our infantry. I think the ridgeline will actually help a lot on that front. We can bait out some of these shots early on from the Hobgoblin Wolf Riders. Skullcrushers, of course, will be operating out on the flanks alongside the Minotaurs. And we're just going to try to get a downhill charge in here while they're disorganized in disarray coming up the hillside. Khorne and Arbaal don't really have much to worry about this battle, I don't think. The Lamasu is going to be annoying, kind of silencing our characters for the moment, but it'll also die in like 3 hits. Khorne, even before he starts activating his Hunter passive, is going to be hitting at like 800 weapon strength base, and I think he has bonus for Slaughterbrutes in campaign as well. So yeah, the Lamasu died almost instantly. The Taruks are coming in too, and here come the Bull Centaurs. So Wrathmongers, the nice thing about them is they aren't anti-infantry specialists, they're kind of just anti-armor, and they kind of function more like monstrous infantry. So they can actually help a lot in cracking armor and dealing with the Bull Centaurs. I don't have to worry. Oh my god, look at the charge bonus. Oh lord. The right side there, that Bull Centaur just instantly melted the Wrathmonger and Skullcrusher charge. So yeah, operating alongside some cavalry, their monstrous cav is not going to match up well at all. Now, I don't know if this is the stack that is going to receive the benefit of the stat bonuses from Khorne's favor. Remember, one of the boons we activated actually makes enemy armies more powerful. I don't know which stack that will be. I think it'll be this one, not the 2 that are coming in from reinforcement. Not 100% sure about that. Either way, crushing them in the center. This first army is not scary. It's the 2 secondary armies that I'm much more worried about. And the fact that we're able to take out an entire stack before the other 2 even make it to the battlefield, well, it's going to make things easier for us. 3 minutes in. First army is almost completely dead, and thank Jeebus, Chaos Dwarfs don't have a Dreadquake. I don't even think they built the garrison building that would give them the army ability one. That could actually be a problem for this stack. The Skullreapers and Wrathmongers would not appreciate being blasted apart. My god, look at how many units are coming in through that choke point. That's wild. Imagine we had a Purple Sun Azarius or a Pit of Shades or something. Khorne doesn't have magic. We're honorable. We kill in melee. Oh my god, they're going to just absolutely shred these characters as they come in. I'm going to try to figure out how to cast this goddamn thing. One of these days, I'll get it to work. I don't know if that's bugged or what. I'm really not sure. Activate Bloodthirst. And you know what? Let's get the Bloody Shackle in too. Get the regen. Deal with this Bale Taurus. The Skullcrushers. Incredible stat line on them. Cleaned up the back. And now we can move up and prevent them from taking the hilltop. A downhill charge from an elite Khorne war host is not something even very numerous and elite Chaos Dwarfs want to deal with. They do have Ironsworn, they do have Kadai Fireborn, they do have Taruks and some more Bull Centaurs to deal with them. Wrathmongers did get charged, but I think we've got a good engagement here. Now we'll overlap with the Skullcrushers. Now we got to be careful of the Fireglaves. It's probably the biggest threat. especially the single entity, especially that Slaughterbrute and the War Shrine. So move Skullcrushers out to the left flank too. Wrathmongers and Skullreapers in the center. Minotaurs, we're going to kind of blob up a little bit on the Bull Centaurs, but there's a little avenue to attack through on the right side. Summon some Bloodletters. Maybe not yet. I want to see if the Chaos Horse fully commit here. I don't want to like get overzealous with the summons. I only have 2 of them. Maybe not an opportune time quite yet. Maybe if I see an Infernal Fireglaive unit getting some really good shots in on one of my single entities, maybe that's when I'll get some Bloodletters on top of them. Now, we do want some Fleshhounds in the back line that can tie up a lot of stuff. The mobility on the right flank, yeah, they have that avenue now. I want to go after those Hell Cannons. Gotta be careful with the Slaughterbrute, because if we're not paying attention, and the Fireglaive's Focus Fire could die in seconds flat, but yeah, we're around here with a lot of really powerful troops. Have taken some damage, but nothing over the top or ridiculous quite yet. We'll send some of this mobility in to deal with the Hell Cannons. I think there will be more troops coming in afterwards, because they're probably unit capped with 3 full stacks. 40 is the max, so there will be more trickling in through that choke point there. Oh yeah, this is epic, dude. This is a huge battle. Just crumbling that front line. And here they come, Bull Centaur Renders. Coming in from the white line. There will be more reinforcements. I need to get some infantry over there if I can. Minotaurs will help out a lot. Bloodletter Summon are tying down the Fireglaives and preventing them from shooting into my Skullcrushers, which is big. They are taking some decent chunks of damage right now. But I mean, this is 3 elite stacks of Chaos Dwarf Warhost, so not entirely surprising. Khorne isn't the tankiest Chaos God anyway. Bloodletters have disappeared. Get a Horn of Khorne down. Make sure those Fireglaives are completely inundated and cannot fire. Wrathmongers and Skullreapers are doing great, as are the Khorne Chosen. Skullcrushers are taking a beating. But I think we've got them on the back foot. Front line should break soon. And we're just going to swarm down the mountainside and push them from this battlefield. And what I'll probably do, actually, because this is so goddamn epic looking, is I'll splice in cinematic footage of this battle after, so y'all can watch it back. Not the whole thing, but maybe like 3 or 4 minutes of it. This is so cool. Still can't cast it. No idea how it works. May stop trying. I don't think we've lost anything. Dawi Zar are completely stuffed up at the bottom of that hill. Another Karanak Fleshhound summon. And yeah, with the Wrathmongers there supporting, these Kadai Fireborn, Bull Centaurs, and the rest of the Hell Cannons are going to die. Get a Bloodletter summon in there too to make sure it's all silenced for good. Single entities are routing. Kadai Fireborn should crumble out momentarily here. Well, actually, their leadership looks entirely full. Are they like unbreakable or something? I don't know. Regardless, everything is dying. And see if we get a Chaos Spawn summon. I think we're out of range. Infernal Guard aren't going to get hit by that. Yeah, that 20% HP threshold is actually harder to hit than you think. Scaramore tribe just ran through them. And that is going to be your battle. I will make sure you guys get some good cinematic shots as soon as we're done explaining what's happening on the campaign map, as Arbaal waddles by like a weirdo. Definitely took some HP damage in that one, but damn, had some big time moments from the Skullcrushers. Managed to deal with all the Bull Centaurs, dive the back line, and just shut down all that range play from the Dawi Zar. Heroic victory. Got a bunch of HP back, because I think it was just health damage. We didn't lose models as much, because I mean, of course, with the Wrathmongers, they have really high HP per model. 10,000 loot just from the battle itself. Arbaal and Karanak did great. I mean, honestly, everything you're going to see here is probably over like 1,500, 2,000 value. Some of them well into the 3,000s or 4,000s. Yeah, Skullcrushers, oh my god, 4,600. So gross. Minotaur, Skullcrushers, all of it. Amazing. And now we need to figure out what to do with the Chaos Dwarfs and show a little bit more of the campaign side.
Khorne's wind will carry their screams.
One really nice thing about these Khorne challenges is you get a massive bunch of replenishment as soon as you win one. So you can take on ridiculous odds, take on 3 or 4 armies as you just saw, and even though you take a bunch of casualties, as long as you win the battle, a lot of your dudes are going to be back up to full directly afterwards because you can replenish an enemy territory and you get like a triple added extra casualty replenishment boon on top of it. So we got a lot of Khorne's favor there and a bunch of other rewards. Auto resolve that. Don't need to fight the secondary one. We'll still make use of all this casualty replenishment. And now, I guess we have a kind of big decision to make. Do I take 72,000 gold from sacking or just take the skulls? I got 22,000 skulls right now. Skulls are an important resource for Khorne. Much more important than they were pre-patch, pre-DLC. But that money's looking real juicy even though we are kind of rich. And that basically almost doubles my treasury. I think I'll probably just end up sacking it here. What do y'all think? Skulls are good. Let's sack it. And we'll return in a little bit. But because there's a bunch of settlements nearby, like the Veil of Woe, take a look at what Arbaal's movement range looks like. Huge. We've already fought a bunch of battles this turn. And we're going to be able to continue that momentum. And this is what Khorne is all about, what Arbaal is all about. His mortal armies are very powerful, and if you're a cavalry fan, like I am, you'll want to put some Skull Crushers in his army for sure. Been having a lot of fun with his campaign. Hope y'all enjoyed this sneak peek at Arbaal the Undefeated. And take a look at some of these cinematics, why don't you?